All right.
All right. How's it going, everybody? All right. Good times. Good times. Happy Sunday. Oh, my eyes are killing me this morning. How's everybody doing? All right. We got lots of chat going on. Got some people watching. Perfect. All right. Well, today has been a long anticipated event. I've had, ever since I first started posting videos, I've had, people ask me about OpenHAB. Can you do OpenHAB? Can you talk about OpenHAB? Why Home Assistant versus OpenHAB, stuff like that? And I said a long time ago, oh yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll learn some stuff about OpenHAB, and then then we can do a comparison. And well, the truth of it is, I just don't have enough time to learn a whole nother system. But fortunately for us, we've got a good friend here, BK Hobby. Say hi, BK.
Hey, Doc. Hey, everyone.
How's it going? So BK is an OpenHABber. He's an OpenHAB guy. Has been using OpenHAB for a long time, but he's still in with the Home Assistant community and getting a lot of crossover. A lot of the stuff that we do is effective or useful for any hub. And so it's been nice to have BK around. And so when I was started to invite people for guest starring on the stream, it made a ton of sense right away to get BK on here and have him talk to us a bit about OpenHAB and go through some comparison and stuff. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. It's definitely nice to be part of the community. I think you've built a great thing here. And like you said, a lot of the stuff crosses over. Even though you mostly use Home Assistant, I've been able to get a lot of ideas from the stuff you do, and stuff like that. People share on your channel to bring it back over to OpenHAB. So
awesome. So tell us about you. You can give us just your sort of background, where you are, how long you've been doing this, and
sure.
How you chose OpenHAB and some of that background real quick.
Sure. So real quick, I've been using OpenHAB for over 4 years now. Basically, I started out with a couple different open source automation systems. Some of them were Windows based, and that was just a mistake. That was not going to work. And then the first thing that I came across that worked was OpenHAB. And once you get it working, you don't fix it till it's broken, basically, right? So it's been working for me for the past 4 years, and I've been getting more familiar with it. So it's kind of the my go-to system. I know these days, like Home Assistant and OpenHAB are kind of like head-to-head, I think, with in terms of functionality and everything. So it's nice to have that choice, but it's also nice to have options either way, I think.
I agree. It's good to have options. It's interesting. It's just kind of what you've been using OpenHAB for 4 years. That's a long time. Like I wasn't even thinking about these kinds of things 4 years ago. So, and I don't know what condition they were in maybe 4 years ago. I'm sure it was quite a bit different, ridiculously different.
It was definitely. And it's just like every other hobby. It's I got into it and kind of like learning as I go. And OpenHAB version 1, which was the version at the time, was definitely a little more complex, I think, for a regular user, basically for somebody that doesn't have a programming background, and it might have been a little more intimidating. There was a lot more text-based configuration and a lot more just back-end stuff you have to do on your own with setting up the Raspbian image and setting up stuff like that. But over the years, it's become very much plug and play, and lots of GUIs and just basic user interfaces that are a little more user friendly, I think.
A little bit more accessible to the masses. So
right.
Can you see the chat, BK?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Because it's pretty funny so far. It's like everybody's saying, wait, are we all switching to OpenHAB now? And we've all
No
been
fear.
doing Proxmox this last week or so. So everybody's like, wait, is it going to run on Proxmox? Like, hold on.
Hmm.
What's going on? Emmy says, I'm installing it right now. 1 second. So anyways, Willington says he didn't even have a computer 4 years ago. It's not true.
Yeah.
How does it grow and catch up with reality? What are we talking about? It's pretty cool and solid base. The main issues, Frank says, with OpenHAB is actually the development speed. Like BK is using 4 years, it means, oh gosh.
You got like what, 6 releases?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I think there's definitely a something that's been done recently, right? If you want the latest and greatest, you just go into the snapshot release, right? You get the snapshot release, and I stopped doing that a while ago because every snapshot carries a risk of bringing your system down, right? So I have been waiting for more of the official releases to upgrade my system, and that does take time. There's probably a 6-month period between every official release. But what happened basically probably last year is they started making these milestone releases. So rather than having a snapshot that would, untested snapshot put out to the public, they have the option of doing the snapshot for the bleeding edge type of guys, milestones for somebody that wants to kind of play with the new features but doesn't really want to deal with breaking their system, and then the release versions that every release has some breaking changes. I will say that, but they're a little more tested and finalized. So
well, yeah. As you're saying that, I'm thinking, and we've all, and we'll talk about it before this stream is over. I know because it seems like the breaking changes are just happening. I don't know if they're more often or if it's because personally my system is getting more complex, and so there's more potential things that get broken when there's changes. Whereas a year ago, when all I had was maybe some lights and a couple switches, a lot of components that got changed with an update didn't really bother me. But now, it seems like we get releases with Home Assistant every couple of weeks, and it's great. And like Frank was saying,
yeah.
that's one of the really nice things is you get all these new stuff all the time. And together with that, you get breaking changes just as often. So you gotta be willing to deal with those. It'd be interesting to and I know that they've talked about this a little bit. Maybe Frank has more insight, but the idea of having a more stable Home Assistant that's not the every 2-week release. It sounds like what OpenHAB does is they have, what did you call it?
Milestone
There was a
release,
sound of,
yeah.
what's that?
Milestone release. So it's kind of
Milestone.
yeah, it's basically a testing release within the main release cycle.
Yeah. So anyways, it's cool. So show us your stuff with OpenHAB, and
Sure.
have you used Home Assistant as well, or you've just kind of stuck with OpenHAB?
I have not, and I've been watching you, show it basically on your channel, and I've been seeing a lot of the other videos. I, definitely want to try it, but I think the one thing that scares me is YAML. I just don't,
Oh.
I can't really grasp it yet. I think, maybe if I was forced into it and had to learn it, I would get into it. But yeah, definitely want to try
It
it
takes
at some
a
point.
little getting used to start thinking
Yeah.
in YAML, no doubt. And now with ESP Home,
Hmm.
boy, we're thinking in YAML even more now. Like
Hmm.
making sketches for Wi-Fi chip devices with basically with a
With
few
config
lines of
files.
YAML, and then it
Yeah,
gets converted to C. That's a whole new thing. But it's really useful.
it
It's
is
really
awesome.
fun.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So show us what you got. Show us what your
Okay.
OpenHAB setup looks like, and some of the things you like about it.
Sure. So, I mean, basically, when you start with OpenHAB, you might see a screen like this, right? You'll see the main startup screen. For the most new users, they won't have all these tiles on here yet. These are different user interfaces. Like OpenHAB, like I'm sure a Home Assistant, you have many different ways to do things, many different user interfaces, and one of the main ones is basically Paper UI, right? That's your configuration environment for OpenHAB. You can do configuration via text files, which I'll show you in a second, but you can also do it via the user interface. And the Paper UI kind of has gives you the ability to, add things. Well, I should probably back up. So everything in OpenHAB is based on objects called basically things, right? And OpenHAB 2 brought this new idea of things. So a thing is basically a device in your home automation system. Everything is going to have channels, like hue light bulb might have a color channel or color temperature channel, brightness channel, or whatever. And then for each channel, you're going to have an item that controls that channel. So the things basically are your devices, and for the most part, OpenHAB supports auto discovery. So it will basically show you the all the devices that you've installed add-ons called bindings for. They'll search for devices on your network for that particular binding. So the Z-Wave binding will show you all the Z-Wave devices. The excuse me, the hue binding will show you all the hue bulbs in here. You basically just add that. You can add that device to your OpenHAB configuration, and then do things with it. So you have, so these are basically all my different things in my system right now. All the Z-Wave nodes and Philips light bulbs, and my Hydro-Eye sprinkler controller and stuff like that. So that,
so the equivalent for
basically
things is going to be entities, probably, as far as Home Assistant naming goes. So how do you install a new thing? So you get a new switch or a new light bulb or something.
So I would basically, if I already have a binding for it, I would just go into, it should already show in my inbox. So I haven't added some of these things here, like these Glodopto bulbs that I have are hue, are part of the hue binding, so they already showed up in my inbox. Or if I had a new binding to install a new device, I would go into the add-ons and go to the bindings, basically bindings tab, and I'll have to find the binding for it. And OpenHAB has a lot of different bindings and add-ons. A lot of the official ones, there's a lot of them that people develop on their own and provide to the community as well. So there's, I think there's always been like in my experience, there's always been kind of like a question of who's got more add-ons and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably.
So I mean, I don't even know how many there are out there. I won't even try to guess.
Yeah, and more all the time. So a binding sounds like similar to a component in Home Assistant, right? So it's a branded device will have a binding, hopefully, and then you can you put in your information about that, your account with that device or whatever, and it can connect, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay. So you install the binding, and then if it's a binding that supports auto discovery, your items would show up right here. If not, you would basically go through and do a manual add for the thing, for the device, basically. Okay. So
cool.
So then once you install the binding, once you install the device, the thing, then you basically can interact with it in your user interfaces and your rules, or your automation rules.
Okay. So show us what you have. So show us so you get a new device. There's a binding for it. You put in your account information, say for your Hue light bulb or something. Now it's going to be listed on your things list, right? Your device is listed on your things list. So then from there, you're going to say, okay, I want to see this light on my interface, so that I can easily turn it on and off, and then go into an automation.
Perfect. So so basically the next step from once you have a thing, let's click on one of these. So I have this extended color light, right? Has two channels, color and color temperature. In order to control that channel, I have to have an item. An item is basically what stores the state of that channel within the OpenHAB system. So in my case, I already have an item linked to this channel. So if, basically I have this guest bedroom lamp item linked to the color channel of this light. And basically, when you control everything from the user interface, you interact with the items. You don't interact with the thing directly for the most part. And once you do that, once I have an item for it, the simplest thing is I can go here and control things directly from the paper UI. That's not generally what one would do with the system. This is kind of like, I think you have the screen in
Yeah.
Home Assistant
I
where like
I have
all
an ugly
your
screen like that. My overview page that's just it shows
Yep.
like everything on it. That kind of has gone away with Lovelace being the default now. It's harder to. That's not the first page you see. You can still get there, but that's not the first page you see, which is nice because it
Sure.
can be ugly like that.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely not useful for the most part. So with OpenHAB, now basically once you have the item, you have the ability to either go to your standard, the standard user interface is still this basic UI. Basic UI
Okay.
is a configuration file driven user interface. So you would define all these frames, all the groups for the items, and the way to display the item states, and that builds your user interface here. So for that light, for example, if I go to the guest bedroom, I have the light here, and I can change the color. I can change the brightness on it, and that's basically the basic user interface.
Okay.
So this one does require configuration files, right? So I have this sitemap file, which is the configuration for my basic UI.
Mm-hmm. So
And
that's how you build your user interface.
that's how you would build it with basic UI, right? But
Okay.
again, with OpenHAB 2, we kind of got away from having to do pull that up. Away from having to do
Similar to
configuration files.
Lovelace and the UI configuration ability that's just a couple months old with Home Assistant. Same kind of thing.
Right. So
Okay.
that's for us. That's basically HAB panel, right?
Okay.
And HAB panel is fully GUI driven user interface, both for control and for configuration. So if let's say I start with HAB panel proper, I'll define my tiles for all the different rooms, or however you classify or categorize your items. In this case, I'll go to second floor, and basically I have this screen, this HAB panel dashboard that shows me the items for the second floor, right? If I want to add a new one, I'll just click on edit, add a new widget, and let's see, that was a color, right? So I'll do a color picker. I can change the size a little bit here, make it a little smaller, and then find the item in OpenHAB in the configuration that pertains to that color channel, right? So color left, I'll call it left lamp, and I can change, let's do HSL sliders. And then once I hit run, there it is.
Cool.
That's the the interface is built basically for that device, for that item.
Okay,
So
that's
I
pretty
think,
nice.
HAB panel is definitely very nice, and I'm graphically challenged, so mine may not look as pretty as it probably could. My best, I think, creation is this heating and air conditioning one. That's the one I'm proudest of, because I got the nice Grafana charts and weather maps and stuff like that. But there's, people have done amazing things with HAB panel. I kind of brought up this topic on the community forums that people have basically been sharing their their layouts and what they've done with HAB panel. Is just it's amazing. So
awesome. That's definitely a big feature, big selling feature of OpenHAB would be that. Seems like a pretty easy user interface to design for those of us that are graphically challenged, maybe, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So.
Cool. So now, when automation, show us. So you got your light. Now you want your light to go on at sunset and go off at 11 p.m. or something.
Sure. Okay. So that's when you get into, well, you still, the way we still do that is basically with rules files, configuration files. So this is where you get, you still get into that programming aspect, right? You still need to kind of be familiar with the way, the way you program things and the way, it's basically a statement list of like similar, the language is basically similar to kind of Java, kind of C. But basically what we do is we define these rule files. Rule, let me think of a good one here, right? Let's actually have the right one picked. This rule for sunset indoor functions. So when my Astro binding, which is the binding for all our sunrise, sunset events, when that sunset or civil dusk in this case, when the civil dusk event triggers start, I'll do things to to my OpenHAB items. I will send the command to turn the evening lights on. I'll send the command to turn the night lights on. If I'm in vacation mode, or if I'm not in vacation mode, I will set different lights, different interior lights on or off. So this is basically how you handle automation and in OpenHAB for now.
That was really intimidating when you first pulled that up. I looked at that and went, "Oh my goodness, like what in the world?" But as you break it down, like okay, I mean, I could see that not being terrible. Anything like this is always intimidating for somebody who doesn't do coding, programming stuff. You start looking at these kinds of things, and the easy thing to do is just have your eyes glaze over and roll back in your head and give up. But it's not too bad. Okay, I could see that being not too bad. All right.
Yeah, I think Frank commented just now. He said like I'm showing these rule files, but I'm afraid of YAML. It's not that I'm really afraid of it. I think I follow these statement lists better. I think in YAML things kind of happen. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of basic. Where like when things you could like jump around the file and jump around the code, and it was a little more. It was a little less structured, I think, in terms of things happening in sequence. I think in YAML things kind of, and I mean, just from my point of view, it like seems like things kind of can happen all at once.
It's it's just it seems to be this to me. It's I don't know, so similar that as far as it's just what's your preference, what are you comfortable with? It's not going to be terribly different,
exactly.
but as a programmer, this hurts my ears. Timo says, "This is not for programmers. This is for the
no.
the rest of us."
This is a very very. I mean, the rules DSL, which is the syntax, is kind of a. I mean, I don't know how you say it nicely. It's a very neutered version of a programming language. Like you kind of try to. It tries to make things simpler, and in a way that does make things harder. There are definitely things in the rules DSL that are painful, types and type conversion and dealing with stuff like that. But
something that gives me fits sometimes in YAML is templates and trying to figure out the right way to bring in information from someplace else to something like this. How does OpenHAB handle that? So say you want you want it to, I don't know, announce the temperature, and so it's you tell it to announce, and then what speaker is going to say it, and then somehow you have to draw in or bring in that data, that temperature data or something. How do you do that?
So I mean, for bringing data in, we definitely. I mean, I'm a fan of MQTT, right? I mean, that's that protocol brings.
We agree on that.
Yep, definitely. So as far as actual like interaction with the items, basically the rules DSL only interacts with item states. So it's pretty simple. Like you fire off a rule, you execute a rule when like one of the rule triggers is changing item state, right? This is a good one. Let me show you again. Nice example. This is a time-based one. Here we go. For example, this motion event. So if I receive an update to the motion event item, I'm going to do things to other. I'm going to send commands to other items. So I'm bringing in an item state that's firing off the rule, and then I'm sending off a command to another item state. So in the case you just brought up, if you want to announce to a speaker, like I'll basically have a switch in the sitemap or another sensor basically, and when that sensor reaches a temperature or reaches a state that I'm looking for, I will create a rule for that fires on that state change, and then I will send the command to the speaker group, the Chromecast audio speaker group, for example.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. Trying to sort out what that's saying in there.
Can I zoom in?
So it's a very different way of thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's a very different way of thinking as far as like the terminology and just the way that you bring things together. So it would be quite a bit of learning, quite a bit difference. I'm impressed that you kind of make the crossover, but I guess most of what you use from what is going on. Oh my goodness sakes! I just got lunch delivered to me. Thank you, sweetie. Oh my gosh, fresh bread with honey and butter. I wish I had enough to share with everybody.
And I'll just mention Kai Crozer is here. Kai is the creator of OpenHAB. So.
Oh, easy. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Kai. Yep. Oh, hey, how's it going? Well, thanks for creating OpenHAB. That's right. We don't have Paulus here from Home Assistant, but we have Frank. That's close.
Yeah. And I will say the rules ESL is basically, the way you create rules right now. With OpenHAB 3 and like the future versions, we are, we're going to be seeing a lot more GUI based rule editors. Like there's a next generation rules editor and stuff like that. I'm not going to show it because I'm not really familiar with it myself. So it'll be.
We'll let Kai surprise everybody when it's ready.
Yep, exactly.
So since we have Kai here, I wonder, watching this and kind of seeing the parallels between OpenHAB and Home Assistant. I wonder, question for Kai, I guess, is, do you guys coordinate? Do like Paulus and the Home Assistant gang and Kai and the OpenHAB gang? I mean, how much interaction or crossover or communication is there? Or do you guys just kind of watch what the other's doing, or you just kind of, everybody's kind of in their own channel? What's I'd like to hear from Kai and see what he says about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll see how long the delay is.
Yep.
So right now there's not a graphic way to do an automation, right, or a rule.
There is.
There is.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to pull that up right now because I don't think I even have it installed in this configuration yet. Yep, rule engine. There we go.
So Kai says he hasn't been in contact with Paulus. Get that man a dial number, right?
Yeah, Kai brings a good point there. He's a busy man.
Yeah, I'm sure, and that's probably what happens is they end up both just kind of, doing their own things in their own directions. It is interesting to see how much, not much time for a closer exchange. It's interesting to see how much they're similar still, even though they kind of get developed in isolation almost, yet they
vacuums, right?
kind of bring the same things together. And maybe sometimes, some things were like the HAB panel is probably been, how long has HAB panel been a part of it? It's been since the beginning. It's been a really long time.
HAB panel's been around for a couple of years now. I think ever since version 2.0 came out. And I mean, I only recently started playing with it myself, probably about a year now. So it's definitely new. And I think it's the way, I mean, Kai can say it best, but I think that it's the way OpenHAB is going. It's the direction OpenHAB is going.
Yeah. I like Kai's point there too. And he says that we're all in the same boat, promoting open source, offline, non-commercial, independent stuff. So that's fantastic. That's and it's important to have a choice. It would be, I'm glad that there is at least, there's OpenHAB and Home Assistant. There's some others too, right? There's Domits or however you say that. And Some people that
Mnemonics,
just use
yeah,
Node-RED. So
yeah,
there's choices, and it's great to have choices. It's great to have
yeah.
choices, and not as competitors, right? This isn't like
And
Samsung versus LG or something at all. Right? It's like,
yeah,
oh, they're
no,
doing something
definitely
really
not.
cool over there. Let's, that's a nice way to do it. Let's try doing it that way, and I don't know, give people choices and options. And
Yeah, I think both have their strong suits and strong options. And I know I've definitely heard of people using both at the same time, and using the Mosquito bus basically to connect things from one to the other. So
yeah,
that's always an option too.
yeah. Let's see. Aren't a lot of communities? Oh gosh, this chat just goes by too fast for me.
Hmm.
Frank and Kai are having a nice conversation. We should do
Yeah.
similar programs. We think like with Logitech. Yep, subjects that could work on awesome.
Hmm.
The trade feed, and everyone works together and figuring out the technical details. OpenHAS, somebody says OpenHAS. Could that be a thing? Awesome. So, well, I don't know. What else? What else do you want to show us? What else do you want to show us,
Um,
BK? What else do you want to tell us? Do you have
I
other
I don't
things?
know. I mean, well, I
Wonder
mean,
what?
no, go for it.
Oh, I was just going to take a bite of my lunch.
I just yeah, I mean, I've been working on a couple of sensors myself. I mean, I've brought in Luma's hasp into
Oh
OpenHAB.
yeah.
Yeah, that was something I found on your channel, right? I found it on one of your live streams, and I saw that thing and I was like, oh my, this is amazing. So so I had to like
Show us how you did
try.
that. Show us how you did that,
Sure.
because
Yep.
so
So
for
yep.
everybody
Go ahead.
watching, real quick, the Luma made this. Luma's a
Hmm.
um, Home Assistant user who's done a lot of really cool projects, and he did one with this Nextion switch plate, and made a back end for it that kind of translated from the language that Nextion used to MQTT, so that it could be used with Home Assistant. Was his purpose, and BK saw that and said, "Oh, that's great." But Luma had done it all to be able to jump right into Home Assistant with all the automation set
Hmm.
up, and made it really easy for people to use Home Assistant. BK took it and said, "Ooh, let's make this so that it'll work with OpenHAB." So, like, one of the
Hmm.
coolest crossover projects between the two that's probably occurred, I would guess. So,
Yeah,
show us how you did it.
it's well. So first of all props go to Luma. He just made he made it very simple and easy. He made the HMI and the firmware behind it very generic, and it's not necessarily tied to one or the other, right? It takes a command, it shows on the screen. It takes a button event, sends it out over the MQTT channel. So that kind of made it a lot simpler to get this incorporated into OpenHAB. One of the things I did to start with, though, was basically take the YAML configuration that he posted on his GitHub, read through that, and made my eyes hurt, like I said. But I got through it, and basically created an equivalent of it within the OpenHAB configuration. So I created these text files here, text-based configuration for all the items that I need to interact with the hasp, for the screens, for the JSON event, and the value back from hasp. And then I created some rule files to act on events from the hasp, and to send out configuration items to the hasp. So that took a little bit of time, but
Yeah.
it was definitely worth it. I have like 3 hasps right now, all all in my house. One's a test unit. I'm gonna build some desktop units as well. It's a really neat way to control the automation system. It's I think I find myself going away from more of the phone GUIs and computer UIs even, and like I like the idea of having, well, one, voice control via Google Home, and or Alexa, or I'm sorry, I'm using the
That's okay. I don't think you set off
the buzzwords.
anybody's.
um and the other option is having touchpads and user interfaces, like direct user interfaces still in the wall. So I like that.
Yeah.
I like the hasp.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us are in the same boat. Oh, after using this thing, after using Home Assistant for a year and a half plus now, I'm the only one that ever gets at it on the computer. Nobody ever opens up. Oops, sorry. See, I didn't say she who shall not be named. I said the other one. That's mine. Anyways, different trigger word here.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody uses even the phone app in my family. It's either voice control or maybe the tablet downstairs. And then now my wife is using the HA switch plate that I put on the nightstand next to her bed for a few things. So that's I think our way to get the rest of the family to use this stuff is those kinds of interfaces. They still want to touch things, make it easy, but it can be a lot nicer and a lot more capable than just a light switch. So that's cool. How much feedback have you had from other people in the OpenHAB community? Have other people picked up this switch plate and used it as well?
Definitely.
This work you did?
Yeah, I've had a lot of great feedback on the OpenHAB forums. So the OpenHAB forums are basically I think for OpenHAB, it's the community place to go to, right? Like, I mean, that's where we have a lot of great resources there. Like, I'll give a shout out to Rich Koshak. I'm not sure if he's here, but he's helped me write a lot of different rules. So
Awesome.
I gotta give that man some some props.
Awesome.
But the in general, like basically when I made the post about HASP, it got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of submissions already for improvements. So like what I started out with here was an items file that was around 800 lines long, basically, because I had to have an item for every single button on every single page.
Oh my gosh.
And working with some of the people in the OpenHAB community, I was able to whittle that down to like 100 or so, basically. So it's definitely and so it's being picked up. I think I was answering some questions earlier today on the forums about people who are using the HASP in OpenHAB. So it's cool.
Awesome. I was gonna ask you something else about that now too. Shoot, it's gone. Oh well. I was thinking about something and then it's gone. All right. What do we got going on in the chat here? What other questions are anybody having? Overhead much is it? Okay, wait. Generally family. You know what I was going to say that was funny? Carlos said, "Does OpenHAB is there a at DrZzs in OpenHAB community maybe a dentist like Bizarro from Seinfeld?" That would be great. That would be awesome. You guys need a dentist, OpenHAB dentist streamer or something. Yeah. Let's see. So what about accessing OpenHAB from outside your home network? So
sure.
We have all the things that have been around for a long time for Home Assistant, that opening a port and doing some of those things for your router. But then we've got this Nabu Casa. So how does OpenHAB handle that?
So the equivalent to that for OpenHAB is myopenhab.org, basically the OpenHAB cloud.
Okay.
And it is a free service. The OpenHAB Foundation sponsors it basically for all the users. It's actually very, very simple. You literally just install the myopenhab cloud component in your OpenHAB configuration. You go to this website, create your account, and there's a secret and UUID file. And I'm not going to log in because that's how I would share secrets.
Come on. Just me? Oh, man. Okay.
But basically you put in that secret and UUID file or string into your MyOpenHAB account, and that enables the cloud component to communicate with your OpenHAB instance. And it's one-way configuration, basically. It's a one-way communication, so you don't need to open up any ports on your router to get in. It's all based on basically your local instance polling the website or polling the cloud for commands and for states to send to the cloud.
Great. And free, huh? So what I would expect then that everybody uses it. If you use OpenHAB,
a lot of people
you're using MyOpenHAB as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
Like we have some people that don't do the Nabu Casa thing or don't want to.
Yeah, it's nice, like I mean, whenever we're away from home, I can check the status of my home automation system, where I can when we come back home, we can set the heater on or stuff like that. So it's kind of like, it's nice to have that external access, and it being so secure, I'm not worried about having to set up firewalls or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that's, I think happened at least to the rookies in Home Assistant sometimes, is the troubles you get into when you start, opening ports and, not doing encryption, or when you set it up,
Right,
does it cause a problem someplace else, and those kinds of things. So it sounds like with this, that's not really an issue.
right, right.
Somebody says, what about geofencing? I don't know.
Geofencing. I don't really use it yet.
Okay.
Presence detection is something I want to do. Um, just haven't had really a chance to look into using anything. I mean, I probably use something like network, network detection, or maybe even a cloud component. Like having a GPS, having my phone GPS tied to an item, basically.
So somebody asked,
But
this is an interesting question. And then this, I don't want to get into the comparison. I know everybody's been joking around a little bit in the chat about, versus, and that we're far from that. But curiosity, somebody was asking how many OpenHAB users are there and how many Home Assistant users are there. I don't know that we can really get that number
I don't think
or
anybody
something
knows
really accurate.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know. I
I
mean, I would
was
imagine
I
that
was reading a
there's.
topic. Mhm.
Go ahead. The topic.
No, yeah, I was reading a topic on the OpenHAB forums when we were trying to figure out. I think people were trying to figure out how many users we have, and it's pretty much impossible, I think, to determine. So
Yeah. Agreed. And you never know, if you go by downloads, or by, you couldn't even go by OpenHAB, my OpenHAB accounts maybe, but it wouldn't work the same for Home Assistant,
yeah,
because not everybody's got the Nabukasa accounts, and some people start using it and then stop using it. I would just safe to say that there are thousands and thousands of both. There are obviously, just if you just look in general on on YouTube and just Google in general, there's going to be pretty similar numbers of posts and questions
mhm,
and things about both platforms. So there, I would bet, of the certainly of the open source home automation platforms, these are the two. These are the two that probably have the most traction. I don't know that there's others, but I don't know that either others have quite the following and quite the development that these have. I could be wrong, but that's
sure.
my gestalt
Yeah.
looking at it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Somebody said, is OpenHAB on GitHub? I guess, where do you get
Yep. It
OpenHAB? Do you
is.
just download it?
You can.
What do you run it
The
on? That's
easiest way to
another
set it up.
question to ask.
Uh,
What do you run it on? Do you run
sure.
it on a Pi, or what do you do?
I run in a Pi. I run in a Pi. Haven't had any problems with that yet. I know people run it on Ubuntu, and there's Docker images. There's like basically with Home Assistant, I think it's the same way, right? You have 20 different ways to install it. But the source for it is on GitHub. If you want to look at the source, really the easiest way to do it is to run an installer called OpenHAB. Basically, OpenHAB is, well, I can't. Well, let me search for it. OpenHAB is basically a automatic image installer. I made a video on it too. If people are interested
Awesome.
in looking at,
Oh, you know what? Let's
you
make
can go to
sure
my
we
channel.
let's make sure we get that in the chat here. I'll do that. You talk about
Yep.
what you're
But
talking about.
basically,
I'll grab your channel stuff.
yeah, you download the OpenHAB image from GitHub, put it on an SD card, pop it into a Raspberry Pi, and it takes about half an hour to get installed. And then it basically brings you to the main screen that we were looking at, the OpenHAB, the initial configuration screen right here. So
Oh, that's what that was.
yeah, yep, that's basically the starting point. Well, here we go. So yeah, OpenHAB is the OpenHAB is basically the hassle-free image-based installer file for OpenHAB.
All right. So there's a link to BK's YouTube channel as well for more stuff about that. And you said, we were talking a little bit about kind of our general interests when you and I were talking the other night. And the one thing that all of us here that are watching and chatting about these things, we all have this one interest in common, but there's other things as well. And so what else? You've done some things. I saw some of your posts. You got a new 3D printer hooked up or something, right?
Yeah, I just got my 3D printer rebuilt. Basically, I had a very old Prusa clone from about 5-6 years ago at this point, and it finally gave out. Z-axis bound, and it just wouldn't work anymore. So I had to rebuild it from scratch.
Oh wow! So what happened to it? How did it just the gear stopped?
I think just the age, the steppers for the Z-axis. I was still using the 5mm rods, so they were whistling and grinding and making weird sounds. And I think eventually the steppers just ground out. And then the with those printers, like I said in my post, I think a year in 3D printer years is like 15 years, right? Because everything changes so fast in that technology.
That's the truth.
So
that is the truth. And I haven't changed mine in 3 years. But it's still going. Good.
Well, mine was ancient by comparison to all the new stuff out there right now. So I had to rebuild it from scratch. But I use it for building my own sensors. So I have my cube sensor. Sensor and LED controller. I used DrZzs initial LED code to create my own Christmas lights. So that's actually how I found your channel too. I was looking at your Christmas lights display. Yep. So
that was why I started doing videos in the first place.
Yeah, I had to change your color scheme a little bit.
What's that?
I had to change your maize and blue color scheme a little bit to blue and white.
You're on the east. You're in East Time Zone. Where are you?
I am on the east side, New Jersey.
In New Jersey, okay. So what's your team out there?
Blue and white.
Oh, Penn State.
The Lions. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. I hate other teams way more than I hate them.
I think so too. I agree.
So somebody was asking, and probably a good thing to do right now is going to be sum this up a bit. Somebody just said, what are the main differences between Home Assistant and OpenHAB? And why don't we both try and answer those? Why don't you answer what you think would be the main differences between OpenHAB and Home Assistant, and then I'll do the same. And we'll see.
And I wish I was hoping that MK Smart House might join our live stream. I've been watching his channel, and he's actually done both. He's done OpenHAB videos, and he's also started playing with Home Assistant. So I think he'd be a great person to maybe you could have him on the future stream and do have comparisons from him.
I think I may have talked to him about doing something together at some point. I know.
Yeah, because I think I'm familiar with what OpenHAB can and can't do. I think the thing that I personally think that is still missing from OpenHAB is good support for cameras. There's a pretty new IP camera binding, but it supports a lot of different cameras. There's no RTSP support yet, I don't think, for IP cameras. So that would be my killer feature. I think that would still need to be added. So that would be like the thing I think OpenHAB can't do really well yet.
That's interesting. So I know I've been beating my head against the cameras for the last couple of weeks as well. And I think some people have good solutions, and some people are still trying to decide what they like best about it. But
I think the problem is always, Frank, I think, brings up the point too that Home Assistant has similar issues. It's the multitude of protocols and vendors out there. No one follows a single standard, right? So that's always
the
tricky part.
So Carlo makes a great point. Let's do it this way. Why not list the top 5 features of each, and then one wish list item? So what would be some of your top few features that you like best about OpenHAB? And then I guess you kind of said the one thing that you would like is
Hmm.
some,
Camera
I
support.
don't know,
Yeah,
better
better camera
support,
support.
better camera integration somehow, right?
Okay.
So
I
then
mean,
what are
my
some of
top
the top
five.
features?
Sure. My top five would definitely be the cloud integration. That's number one. The hat panel user interface is a big one. Google Home integration is nice and simple as well. Trying to think. I mean, I like the reliability of OpenHAB. I think for the past 4 years, I really haven't had any issues at all with the system. I think there's been breaking changes between different versions, but I keep on top of the GitHub release pages and before I hit update, I definitely back up and restore and or back up all my configuration. Um, that's been my number one lesson learned, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just in general, I think it has a lot of support for all the items, with the exception of cameras. I think it has support for every item uh,
That you wanted to use.
I've thrown at, like Z-Wave. I mean, the Z-Wave component in OpenHAB, I think is amazing. It's just like pretty much every device under the sun is supported in Z-Wave, and if it's not, Chris Jackson is the Z-Wave maintainer. He gets it added within days.
Oh,
So
wow. That's great.
yeah.
Um, so from my perspective on the Home Assistant end, what are the things that I like best? I think I have not found anything that I couldn't use with Home Assistant, and I haven't tried a lot of things, but I think the sheer number of components and how fast they get added, that let's call that even two things, because there's a lot of components that are available, and there's more all the time. I mean, every couple of weeks, we get somebody came up with some new way to integrate some new device, and so
Mhm.
that's been really great. I think the other thing that really got me um, hooked into Home Assistant was the support, the community support. It sounds like OpenHAB also
Mhm.
has good support. I mean, you guys have
Mhm.
a
The
place to,
forum, I think, is like, yeah.
yeah, the forums, and so with Home Assistant, I think most of it happens in Discord. There's forums and a lot happens there, but so much real time help can be done through Discord. Does OpenHAB have
Hmm.
something like that? Do they do a Discord channel or something?
OpenHAB doesn't have an official one. I have my YouTube channel's Discord, and
Okay.
and we definitely get some OpenHAB discussions going there. So
Yeah, that is a nice thing. Is I've seen it happen. People are on Discord, they're chatting about something, and then somebody just says, "Why don't we just screen share?" And they just pop into a call, and
mhm.
you can usually sort things out really quickly that way. So
Yep.
so let's see. I like those. I like those things. I've been a big fan of the well, I think the user interface options that we've had before. We had Lovelace using the panel, the app daemon um, HA dashboard was my favorite thing, and the
Mhm.
wife's favorite thing. She liked that a lot. And then wish list. I don't want to just say cameras, because I think cameras, there's some stuff there. That's something I definitely want to figure out better. Um, I think the ability to connect directly to your Home Assistant instance through Nabu Casa, through the cloud, without
Mhm.
needing to have VPN or have an open port. I know it's coming, but that would be my biggest wish list thing as well. Similar to what you have there with the My OpenHAB, to not have to open a port or have a VPN to be able to connect to your stuff with Home Assistant. That would be my thing on the wish list for sure.
Right.
For sure. Um, Somebody says they used OpenHAB and really missed the HAB panel alternative in Home Assistant. The Z-Wave implementation in OpenHAB is much more reliable. Yeah, I don't use Z-Wave, so that wasn't one
Mhm.
that I've experienced. But it sounds like they've got a pretty good Z-Wave Z-Wave
Absolutely.
integration,
Yeah,
I guess, right?
I have a pretty large network for Z-Wave. Well, I mean, large 15 items or so. So I think To me, it's been very reliable. No
And
issues at all.
Carlo adds as well that OpenHAB has an Android client, right? Which Home
Definitely.
Assistant
Yep.
doesn't have. On Android Home Assistant, you just use the web interface. If I understand right, I don't have Android, but I think that's how it is. And then I think some of the basic stuff, the underlying language that they're written in is different, and so you just have different ways of doing the same things. I mean, the purposes are the same. You have devices in your home that you want to control based on whatever whether you're home or not, whether it's daytime or nighttime, or whether some other temperature reading, all these things. Heck, you want all this stuff to integrate and to happen, and they both do that. It's just they do it in different ways with different back end languages. But as far as what it takes to get them working, I don't think it doesn't seem to me to be drastically different at all. I think you running OpenHAB on a Pi, you can run Home Assistant on a Pi. You got a bit of a walkthrough interface that gets you installing it. It's been so long since I installed Home Assistant, but it's pretty simple as well. And then setting up things, it's getting. I know. I wonder how long they've both been going. I can't remember what Paula said about Home Assistant when they started doing it, but it's probably been about a similar time frame as well that they've both been being developed, and so they're coming to a lot of the same ends.
Same feature set, right? Yeah, definitely.
Same feature set. Very good.
Yeah, Kai would be able to answer how long the project's been around. I mean, I think 2010 is when he started with it. But I agree with you exactly. I think both are pretty much a viable solution. Like everyone has their preferences in terms. Some like the rules files and the way OpenHAB is configured might make more sense to someone like me. Home Assistant configuration might make more sense to you or other people. So I think it really is a matter of preference now.
When you're a total rookie like I was, you have to learn YAML from scratch, or you have to learn the OpenHAB. What do you call it? The OpenHAB language from scratch. It doesn't. Once you learn it, then great.
Extend, right? It's based on
extend.
But yeah.
So Home Assistant's been going for about 6 years. And Kai says OpenHAB since February 2010. So, somebody else just asked something too that I was going to answer. Oh, somebody asked about Node-RED. So, do you use Node-RED with OpenHAB?
I do not, but there is. I know there are OpenHAB components in Node-RED, so it is usable. Definitely is usable as well.
So you don't personally, but it definitely some do. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, let's see what other questions you guys have. Keep shooting some questions at you. I know you said you had about an hour and a bit.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to cut out in about 10 minutes or so.
Okay, great. Well, let's keep you on for 5 or 10 more minutes then, and see what other questions come up. But yeah, it's interesting. I think the feature that I was most impressed with OpenHAB so far has been the HAB panel. I thought that was pretty neat, the way you can very easily bring things in and manipulate them. We're getting better with Home Assistant with the interface, the graphic way to adjust Lovelace, but it's not quite that level yet. Like, that was really nice. You can drag and drop and stretch and move around, and we're not quite there on
I
Lovelace.
think I saw something from Burns HA today. Like home panel.
Oh yeah. We looked at home panel on the live stream. One of many last week, just for a minute. But yeah, I hadn't really played with it. Does it do that? I didn't look at it long enough to know. Can you drag and drop and adjust sizes that easily?
Not sure. I think you can do a lot of the configuration on, editing online with it from what I saw in the video. But I think vCloud asked a good question too. Do OpenHAB users share their configs the way Home Assistant users do? I think some of us do, and actually I've learned that from your channel. So I want to bring that up. I have shared my OpenHAB configs on GitHub. So
Awesome. I haven't. I did once for a little while,
yeah.
and then no, but I know a lot of people do, and there's plenty that do, and I would like to at some point, but mine is I just haven't. Because I did it once for a couple days, and then I had some file in there with a whole bunch of passwords, and so I had to change a bunch of stuff. That was no good.
I learned that from you. I was extra careful when I did that.
That's what I'm here for, man. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make all those mistakes so that nobody else, so others can avoid them. That's right.
You're doing a great job.
All right. So somebody says, let's see. Are we going to compare with Domits? I don't know anybody that uses it a lot. Maybe if somebody did, they could show us. But any bridging plugins available to use both Home Assistant and OpenHAB, or is it manually via MQTT and Node-RED? John says,
yeah.
Probably.
I think, OpenHAB, the MQTT binding in OpenHAB 2 does support Home Assistant Auto Discovery. So I guess if Home Assistant, I guess the way that would work is Home Assistant devices would be importable to OpenHAB. So yeah, and OpenHAB has its own kind of version of that. It has the Homey MQTT protocol. So it's like there are ways to make the two talk to each other.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Need to find Proxmox. Yeah, now's the time to install OpenHAB on Proxmox and give it a run, give it a spin. I'm not going to advocate any mass exodus from Home Assistant to OpenHAB. I like that there's choices, and I'm happy that we get to have different things, and that we get to still communicate, contribute to each other, and help out. So
exactly.
Somebody says choo choo. I don't know what that. Oh, they're talking about Frank's choo choo. If you ever have an error, please report it on GitHub. Oh, sorry. All right, cool. Well, BK, thanks again, man. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me, and yeah, thanks for creating this great channel and then community. So, because I've learned a lot from you as well. So I appreciate that.
Oh, somebody says set up MQTT before it starts. Oh, somebody's asking about integrating Google stuff. So like Google Home and Amazon Echo. That's pretty easy, I'm guessing, from OpenHAB, right?
Yeah. There's two bindings. One is the Echo and the G binding are basically just plug and play at this point.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, we'll let you get to where you got to go. Everybody, thank BK.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
And have a nice day, everyone.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care.
See ya. Bye. Now you figure out how to turn this team viewer off. All right. Well, that was nice. I appreciate him being here. That was really cool. One of the things, anyways, I've said it probably 10 times already today, but I sure like that there's so much collaboration and willingness to share and stuff. So it was nice. That was good to see. And he's always around. BK's always around. Kai, thanks for also for pitching in here, Kai, and being here to answer questions. If I'd have known you were coming, I could have, we could have hooked you in and had you directly be involved and given everybody your input. But I sure appreciate it, and appreciate the work you've done. I mean, that OpenHAB is a nice looking bit of software you got there, and you definitely got some really nice features. So nice to see it. Okay. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. The first thing that we're going to do is get Arthas's pelvis out of our faces. I had to zoom in to get BK's screen on here. And so now we're going to change this a little bit so that it's not quite so. That's a bit better. There we go. And now we can shrink this down a little bit now. Oh, that's a bit better. All right. Yeah, that felt kind of weird too. Yeah, believe me. I thought so too. So I wanted to talk about a couple other things. Let's see. Would love to extend collaboration. Really hope that all our efforts keep growing and keep open source relevant in the smart home market. Thank you, Kai. We'll certainly work on this end to make that a part of what we do as well. So thanks for what you're doing over there. All right, so there was a couple things that people were asking about, and I wanted to talk about, and one of them was the newest. It was funny, we were talking about breaking changes and such, right? But there were a few people that had problems with 0.88, and so I thought we'd just go through that real quick, and some of the changes, and maybe some of this is things that I don't know exactly yet how to fix, but we can work on it together for a few minutes. So I didn't realize some things that were going to get broken that did get broken. But the thing that I think caused most people the biggest amount of trouble was the custom components. And I don't even remember, like I read through this and I didn't really see it. Oh, I can take this here to look out now. I didn't really see where the problem was going to come from, but I can tell you that what it seemed to be was the file structure for the custom components had a big change. And so what that did to me that mattered the most was no more new things. Your puny brain is swamped already. Your history stopped working too. 0.88. Oh man. Card modder, card tools seem to be the big problem, but updated to the latest and it fixes. Okay, so 8. So if you had card modder and card tools updated, then maybe 88.1 is the fix. A few things broke, but got it fixed. Good. What else was somebody saying down here? Pi keeps crashing. Hasp automations. Oh man. Okay, back to this because I just got squirreled, didn't I? If you go, I want to look at the Amazon Echo, because that's what got messed up for me. So I'm gonna walk through this real quick because I think there's going to be a lot of people get stuck with this. So we might as well spend a few minutes on it. Okay, so this is just Keaton's post, still in the forum, same old post from a long time ago when we got the Alexa Media Player component. So we're going to go down. If we go down here close to the bottom, there's some posts about what you had to change, but I can essentially tell you what it was. I was trying to see if maybe there have already been a lot of people changing it. Well, okay, so what you had to do, there we go. This is some of it. So what you had to do in your file tree, what you had before was you had, custom components, and then there was media player, and then inside media player, I think here was where we had alexa.py. Sorry about that. I said it out loud. Apologize. So what you had to change was, in fact, if you go to, oh, that's right. I think he said if you go to the GitHub and just copy it as it is now, that's right. So not this one anymore. This one. Nope. Where we said big update. Gosh, come on, man. GitHub. Alexa Media Player Home Assistant. No. Jeez. No. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Frank. All right, let's peek at this. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, this was this is instructions. If you have made a custom component, this is how you need to fix it, right? And the integration name, always make sure you create that folder. And then you have, okay. So what that meant specifically for the Amazon Echo is that instead of going into this media player, you now need to have this folder that says Alexa Media. And then inside there, you have these files, but this is what media player. So if you get to the GitHub page for that Alexa component, which I can't find right now, but when you get to the GitHub page, if you just download the whole repository, it's got the right file structure now for you. So you can just use the file structure that they had, and it'll be there. Then you have to, though, also go in and change in your configuration the names of your entities. So you can't. It's not media player Alexa anymore. It's something else. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong file. This one. Media player. No. This one. Okay, so yeah, so instead of having an entry for your Amazon Echo devices under media players, you now have this new component heading that is Alexa Media, and then you have your same. This is the same information that you had before. I think I actually took the quotes off of this to make it work. It might have worked with the quotes, but the quotes weren't in the example. But this was important. And then when you do that, it's going to change the names of your media players as well. So you have to go into Home Assistant and change the names of your media players. Mine used to be named. They used to be named after the things after the entity names in the Echo. Or the I want to not say her name, but you know who I'm talking about. But now they changed the name, or at least the name's changed on mine. It used to be, so this one used to be called like Echo, Justin's Echo Dot or something. That was a new one, and then this one here used to be called my Justin's Echo Input. And so for some reason the names changed. So that messed me up a little bit and I had to change that. Somebody else said that they were having troubles with the Life 360 component, but I'm not. I'm too focused. Sorry. It's trouble looking at the chat. I'm going to focus on the chat now. I'm done. Okay. I wanted to make sure to cover what you had to do to fix your Amazon Echo media player components. And if you're having component trouble, it's probably because of that change in the file structure that you need to make for custom components. So just if you have a custom component that stopped working, you probably have to look at that developers page again and see what they had to change. It's going to be some file structure and file name stuff. Once you get it done, you'll do it. All right. Now, let's focus on the chat. Okay. Link in Discord has the page I'm looking for. Okay. Thank you. All right. What about Live 360? What files should be located? So my Live 360 didn't stop working, but it throws errors if you don't rename. Okay. Chris, where is it? It will break in the future. Okay. Somebody post me a link. Somebody hit me with a link in Discord so that I don't have to fumble around. Shoot me the link for Life 360 in Discord and we'll look at it. Vicious cycle, driven by the almighty euro dollar. Unfortunately, not driven by the rest of the consumer. Oh no, what's this? OpenHAB wins hands down in terms of naming. Constantly get nursing and assisted living results when searching Home Assistant on Google. Makes me feel old. Oh, it's in the logs? Is it in my logs? Okay. Custom component device tracker CPY error. Oh, okay. So probably let's just go to. Do you know if they've changed it yet? Because it's going to mean that this, whoever keeps up this. May of 18. Nope. Let's see if this is how long ago since this was updated. 0.8. Yeah, so he probably hasn't updated it yet. Is that right? Squirrel's right. Squirrel. I need a squirrel this time. Yeah, it's secrets.yaml. Thanks, Frank. Is it in my secrets.yaml right there? Turkey. Yeah, it's going to be along those lines. It'll probably mean a folder that says Life 360 instead. Alternative place of copy. Sign updating custom updater. Yeah, because a lot of this custom updater thing, anyways, that's where the problem went wrong. Change local to custom cards. I think just says to put it into its own directory and not the custom components folder. Yeah, so let's open up my secrets folder here. So instead of being here, it's gonna just need to go. I don't know. Is it just gonna be called Life 360? See, that's the thing. We got to make sure we get the right name, right? If we don't, probably says right here. That's not helping. That's not helping. That's not helping. Config checker also gives you some guidance. Thanks for the great stream. See you, Jerry. Change local to custom cards. That's something else. Yeah, so Life 360 and then device tracker.py. And then I wonder if you're going to have to then name it differently instead of this. I wonder if the main heading here is going to be Life 360, kind of like it was with the Amazon. Alexa Media Player just stopped working. Oh my gosh, Joel, we were just talking about that. Rewind the stream like 5 minutes, really, and I'll tell you. But essentially what you have to do is go back and download. You might as well just go download the newest Alexa Media Player from GitHub, and then just put the folder structure that it says. But essentially, instead of going Media Player and then the Alexa file here, you put this Alexa Media file folder there, and then these files in here, and this is the important one. And then in your configuration, you have to change this instead of being Media Player and then Platform Alexa or whatever. I've been saying it a lot. I'm going to keep saying it, so just hit mute. You put this in, it just changed this a bit, and that'll fix it. I did that, and then I had to restart, and then had to go to the overview page and just do the CAPTCHA again, but then it worked. Put a link in Discord. Okay, thank you. I say put a link in Discord, and then I don't look in Discord. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Mighty Pixel. Yes! All right. 3 days ago. Change today. Let's see. Installing it for the first time if you do not use the custom updater and you're updating Home Assistant before or 6 years later. Okay. Where's the GitHub? I just want to go to the GitHub. I think they'll have it right there. They'll have the file structure right and the names right. Oh man, I'm getting burned out this morning. I don't want to be there. 20. Okay, go scroll down to February 21. He mentions the upcoming change. You guys. Ah. I can't focus. I am so scrolled out today. I cannot focus. There we go. Here we go. There it is. Okay. You have a separate folder for each device tracker you use now. At least that's how I understand it. So there will be no need to rename it. It's an isolated folder. I'm a blur. I'm a blur. Man, I want to keep going though. I want to keep streaming, but I'm just losing my mind. All right. Haven't seen one in a while, Wayne. Well, we're glad you're here, man. Heading out. Thanks, Carlo. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your help. Ooh, Paul says he bought a Pi Zero after the last stream. Monitor presence detection solution suggested. It's rather interesting how it works. Okay, cool. Oh, with this thing. Maybe that's what I'm going to end up doing with my Pi Zeros. Because they're not going to be great for cameras, probably. This is a painful release for people using custom components. But it's important in order to keep stuff maintained and nice for the future. So yeah, I understand. Yep. It's okay. It's growing pains. We'll get through it. I guess, does it matter what you call it as long as you call it this, as long as you are consistent with what you call it, right? So if I just go to custom components and if I just make a new folder that says Life 360, and then if I just take this file and put it, wait, why is it there? Interesting. I probably need more than just that in there. I'm not good enough at this. Yeah, the folder structure, yeah. All right. Found it. Going to give it a shot. Awesome. Oh, creative. How's it going? All I had to do is change the folder name to the PY file inside it. Everything still works, including Node-RED. Awesome. Oh, yes, your daughter would love. Her name is Bani. That's a cool name. Hey, Bani. Ishmeet's a good guy. We like him. He's been around for a long time, hanging out with me and making crazy home automation stuff happen. Has he done cool stuff for you at your house? How old is Bani? Am I saying it right? Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. I need to change the PY. Okay. PyKit crashed, updated, but came alive after power reset. Well, that's good. I hate when Pi's crash. In the new structure, each component will have its own folder instead of being spread across the board. Okay. How's those blinds coming along? Really nice, actually. Well, we can talk about that for a minute too. That'd be good. I'm gonna mess with this after. I can't focus. The blinds. Let me show you what the best part about the blinds has been. The open ESP Home, my ESP Home stuff. So in ESP Home, I was able to make some good progress here. And oh, thank you. Stain, appreciate that. You know what? Somebody else did a really good super chat earlier and a little donation, and I didn't have it set to play audible, and we were talking, and I didn't get to say hi, so I apologize, but thank you. Oh, good. If it was device tracker, Life 360, she made me build her a doorbell for her room. Wi-Fi doorbell. Awesome, Ishmeet. Awesome. That was my first. I had a doorbell in my room when I was like 10, and because I found one at a construction, I stole it, but I probably still need to go back and make good on that. But anyways, I took it from a construction site and put it in my room on my door. So then do the opposite. Oh, okay. All right. So this is my ESP home file for my blinds, and I think it was Frank even that said make a cover template. So here's my cover template, and this works. This works great. So the cover template, the idea is you have to create a couple of things first. One is you have to have this. See how it's shade 1 top? This is the sensor. So if this binary sensor, wait, let's see, that's a different button. So I made a binary sensor. This is shade 1 top. That's this binary sensor. So that's the one at the top. On Preston. Wait, what was I doing here? I've done so many different changes on this. Now I'm confused about which version this is. But essentially, if you have, you can use the state of a binary sensor to say whether it's open or closed on your cover, so that you get the arrow up and the arrow down doing the right thing. And then this is what's really nice, is the open action. So the way that that motor controller works, you have to have you have 2 control pins. And if you have one up and the other down, one with voltage and one to ground, then the motor will spin in one direction. And if you switch those, then the motor will spin in the other direction. And if they're both off, or I guess technically if they're both high, the motor won't spin at all. So you set those. I've got those switches. That's the first things I've set up here. These are the output switches right here. So you set the pins to work, and then you set the switches to be to use those pins as their output. And then I named that you have to give them an ID so you can use them in something else. And so then when I use them down here, now when I click the open, it spins one direction. When I click the closed, it spins the other direction. And when I click the stop, it stops. I've been trying to integrate a couple other things. I've got the end stops to work. I think when I actually install this, I think I might not use the end stops. I think I might be able to time it well enough. The motor spins so slowly that I think if I do it in some sort of fraction of seconds, it'll be reasonably accurate. And it might be better than having extra stuff wired around. Support interlocking, so you don't have to worry about both being on at the same time. Awesome. That's so I kept looking to see when that was going to show up for me. Yeah, see, it's still not showing up as needing to be updated for me. Version 11. Just behind the times, man. Just behind the times. All right, so I appreciate what Meph is doing for me here. Bug conversion. What kind of batteries are you going to use? I'll get there right in 1 second. Question about ESP Home. Your passwords. It put in contain and at, so this single quote will get an error about the quote not valid. Oh, because you're using an at symbol, Gary, in your passwords? Oof. The changes were updated 4 hours ago. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Meph. Did you send me that in Discord? GitHub repos changed. Excellent. Oh, I need to uninstall it and reinstall it. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, the different oh, that's right. Might ask on the Discord. Yep. Hey, Alian, how's it going? Not ESP Home YAML. Oh, okay. What's going to happen to all my stuff in here then? Like, what happens to these? Are these still going to be here? Is it going to get them? Just waiting for the neighbor's roof to go down the street. Holy cow, Mark. Holy cow. 80-mile-an-hour winds. Okay, so then back here, so it must be is it in the add-on store? ESP Home is here. Oh, so there must be a new. Somebody post that for me. You guys see I'm struggling today? I'm struggling. There's days where things are nice and smooth and, well, no, never mind. There's none of those days. But I feel like I'm struggling today. I'm struggling to focus. I probably need a nap. What was I looking for? ESP Home repo. Because it's different. Oh, thank you.
Funding DrZzs Bosley Hair Restoration Project.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. I'll get right on that. I appreciate your concern for my baldness. Oh, thank you, Frank. To the rescue again. Uninstall the add-on, remove the repo from the repositories, remove the old home repo. Okay. Old configs stay. Okay, excellent. Then we can do that. If that's the case, then let's do it. Uninstall. Bye-bye. Thank you, Frank. To the rescue. All right, so now we're going to go to the add-on store. We're going to put the correct. Here we can remove this one. And we're going to put this new one in. Where'd it go? There we go. And for those of you following along at home, oh, thank you, Alian, because Alian's got the power. Super chat squirrel. Yeah, I need. Okay. So now, there we go. There we go. Oh, you know what? Did I need to change anything down here? I can't remember. I guess I install it and then I'll have to set up the config, right? Oh, good. Fixes a power monitoring bug. Awesome. Oh, is there a reason why the Alexa Media Player component isn't official yet? Issues with stability, text-to-speech, etc. I don't know, Joel. Good question. Frank, what's it take for something to become official as far as a component instead of being, in the custom component realm forever? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I need to work on some of those animations, Frank, for sure. Somebody has to open a pull request. Oh, okay. All right. I haven't done this one in a long time. Cover your ears. All right. So now, what do I have to put down here? I can't remember. SSL false. All the rest can stay. Sweet. Okay. Don't need to do anything. Start. Boy, if this just pulls those right in, that'll be really nice. Doing Raspberry Pi setup on 2U convert. Smart plug with energy mining. Awesome. Jean-Francois. That should work. That thing's been awesome. It's still working, that 2U convert. Credentials, log in. Everybody got the credentials? There, it's all still there. How do I do this though? This update available. When you upload it, it'll work? Probably, right? That's my guess. There's a fix for the LED thing. Oh, good. Read the docs on the stream. This is awesome. Update, really. Okay, cool. Let's go to the docs. Here, you mean? No, not there. I probably shouldn't stay on much longer. In every file, you have ESP Home YAML, changes to ESP Home, that's it. Oh, okay. What, read the docs? I'm so confused. Yeah, none of mine are connected right now, if you notice. None of mine are connected right now. They're all unplugged because they're in various stages of being developed. Can you join Discord voice room? Can I? Or can somebody else? Oh, Joe's in there. I'm just... this is so random. This is so awful. Changelog. Ah. Hi, bud.
Hi.
How are you? Why is there no changelog here? It should be. Oh, there it is. Thank you. All right. Thanks for all the amazing support on Discord, Twitter, Twitch. People accomplished inspiring. Decided to rename the project just to ESP Home, which is nice. Massive refactors to allow this rename. Literally thousands of files had to be changed. The rename might not seem too exciting. Lots of ancient code got revised and cleaned up. ESP Home source got moved to a dedicated GitHub organization. Many other organizational changes were made. Awesome. Documentation now gets built and served by Netlify. Okay, hello installation. The installation methods have changed. That's what we just had to go through. All right, I had to put the different repository in there. And if you did pip or Docker based, fine, do that. Until now, many users had a static... do we not have to do that anymore? Many users had to set a static IP for all ESP nodes in order to be able to connect to them. That was not good user experience. The project is committed to provide the best possible user experience, so ESP Home bundles its own MDNS responder to static IPs are no longer necessary. Okay, that's very exciting. Faster release cycle. One of the big things that needs to change with the project was release cycle. For one thing, there's all contributions by you, the users, that potentially would have to wait. Okay. Said it before, we want to move OSP to quicker, more regular intervals. Personal due to date release, 2 weeks. Going forward, I want to have a regular release interval of 3 weeks. Remind me of it if I forget. All right, Odo, we're going to keep you honest on that one. All right, let's see. So this was February, the light addressable, not updating light. So fix that things, breaking changes, template switches no longer store the state by default, removed heartbeat filter, optimistic mode for template platforms and split off to optimistic and assumed state. Other notable changes, added GPIO switch interlocking. That's fantastic. That's really great. So that's all I have to do then for my motor controller, right? If I have those two switches interlocked, as long as one of them's on, the other one has to be off. And if that one goes to off, then the other one has to turn on. So that's great. Okay, sweet. Wait until, okay. Light partition platform, split addressable partition. Template published actions, manually push. Support for a new sensor, okay. Found in the Sonoff TH, okay, awesome. MQTT, there's a bit of core, good. Use address, Wi-Fi. Display pages, display periodic switches. 2 IR codecs, awesome. Interface logging, strings are stored in Flash. Cool. Well, there's definitely a couple things in there I'm excited about. I really like that you don't have to put in the fixed IP addresses anymore. That'll be fantastic. And then that interlocking switch thing, those will both be really good for me. All right. So we've been going a while. I'm melting down. What else? Let's see a couple other things before I go. Let's open the stickers thing for sure. For sure. So if you're not on YouTube, get to YouTube real quick, long enough to put in something for something in the chat to type in, and then you'll start to get your register for sticker giveaway. How about that? Stickers. Arter, what would we chat about, my friend? Let me know. What is ESP Home all about? Ooh, Georgia Tech. ESP Home is a new way to write scripts or sketches for, a whole bunch of different devices, but mostly for the Wi-Fi devices. So the ESP8266 devices like the D1 Minis or the Node MCUs, but also for Sonoffs and things. What's great about it is it's a couple things. One, it lets you write the script, I shouldn't say script. It lets you write the sketch in a format that is really pretty easy. Like instead of, there's a lot of comments in this, but essentially it's just YAML, right? So it's some things like this. This almost looks like what your entry would look like in Home Assistant, right? In the configuration.yaml file. But what this actually does is it writes the code in C+ or whatever it is, that this Arduino code, right? It actually writes the code that you then upload onto the ESP chip, the ESP Wi-Fi chip, so that it can do whatever you want it to do. In this case, I want it to run a cover. I want it to open and close some shades for me. So so that's one thing. One thing that it does that's really cool is it lets you write what ends up being pretty complicated code for your Arduino device or your Wi-Fi device. And it lets you do it in YAML in a much simpler way. But the other thing that's really cool about it is that there's a native API, which means you don't have to use MQTT in between. So this stuff will connect directly to ESP Home will connect directly to Home Assistant and without anything in between. So that's really awesome. Did a Sonoff PAL R2 yesterday, exposes a binary sensor to Home Assistant if my dryer is running. Awesome. Remember people doing it in automations? Not needed. Yes, and that was the other thing. Thank you, Frank, for that reminder too. The other thing that you can do with ESP Home is you can write the automations right into the sketch that goes on the device, meaning the automation will still run if your Wi-Fi is down or your Home Assistant isn't working or whatever. So for me, I'm going to have an automation in here for a button that will do something with the shades, right? And if I wanted the shades maybe to just go up at when the sun is, I want them to come down when the sun is hitting the window, and then have the shades go up when the sun is over the top of the house. I could write that automation right here in the ESP Home YAML file that will get uploaded to the device that's running the shades. I can still do automations with them in Home Assistant if I want to, and I can control it from Home Assistant or from the panel or from wherever. But that automation, that part of it, will stay on that chip in that device, and so it'll run no matter what else is happening. Pretty awesome, right? And this is Frank's ESP. So this is a Sonoff PAL R2 that Frank set up to do to tell if the dryer is running or not. So this stuff at the beginning is just how you get it set up and connected, passwords and such. Now he sets up a sensor. This is just about the Wi-Fi signal and uptime. Okay, the scullery dryer. Okay. And this will give you, so he sets up these sensors. That's the type of sensor that's in that device. Every 5 seconds, it'll update with the current, the voltage, and the power. Okay, he's got a text sensor here. And then, so restart switch. Okay. Turn the light on and off. Binary sensor. And then this is a little bit of a template here. So this is going to report back, right? Is that what this is doing? Binary sensor is going to report if scullery dryer on. Yeah, if it's on, it'll report that it's on. All right. And then he's got some LEDs that tell you what's going on. Line 93. Platform template. Is that new? Anyways, so that ESP Home is very exciting. I'm really excited about ESP Home, and its documentation is really good. So you go through here and you say, okay, well, I want to do, here's one I'm going to do, this ultrasonic sensor. I'm going to do one of these. So what do? It tells you right here. And I don't know if Odo wrote all this himself or if he got a lot of other people to help him or whatever, but these instructions are really pretty good. And so this tells you what you need to put in there for that sensor. That's it. You can get some more information here about variables and stuff, and then you can also do things with templates if you needed to. But essentially, that's it. You do that, and then you get it. Make sure that you've got the top parts that connect it to your Wi-Fi and stuff, and that's it. You'll have a sensor that will show up, and you don't have to restart. When you do an ESP Home sketch like that and upload it to the device, you don't have to restart Home Assistant. They just appear. So if you make changes, and if you make changes here, like if I were to make changes to this and then save it and upload it, it uploads right to the device over the air, wherever the device is. It could be, stashed away in the attic in the wall somewhere. It'll upload to the device, and then you'll see the difference. You'll see the changes right away on your Home Assistant UI. And I've always been a lover of Tasmota, and with ESP Home, man, it's the way to go. It's the way to go from now on, I think, for sure. So, good questions. Anybody else have any other good questions? Let's get ready to run this. That's what I wanted to say. Tomorrow, is Tasmota your default or still moving on to? So, I'm trying when I can. I'm going with ESP Home when I can. If I'm just going to flash a receptacle or a light switch and I don't want anything fancy, then I probably would just go with Tasmota because I know it and it's fast, especially for like those Tuya devices, because you can do that Tuya convert. But once you've actually you could use the Tuya convert in order to just change the firmware on the device, on the Tuya branded device, change it to Tasmota. But then you could use ESP Home. You could make a binary and upload the binary through Tasmota to the device and change it to ESP Home. In fact, there is a page here that tells you all about how to migrate. So if you're using Tasmota or ESPerna or ESP Easy, this tells you what to do to migrate from one to the other. So you make your binary in ESP Home, and then you use the firmware upgrade pathway here from Tasmota, and you upgrade it and you slide in your binary from ESP Home, and you can change over. So if you have a device that you want to change over and try, you can do that pretty easy. It's pretty awesome. Given you to go on their second bridge, I can switch from Tasmota to ESP OTA. You can switch to this, I guess. Great video by ESP Home and SP20 with power meter recommended to all. Oh, awesome. So Quindor at Intermit Tech, he's got a video about that too. Could send together and post it on Discord. Tuya convert to support ESP Home. Let's update Tuya convert to support ESP Home, right? I'm sure that somewhere, I don't know where they put it, but there's just a binary file because they just grabbed the sonoff.bin from Tasmota and put it in there. All we got to do is just put a generic ESP Home binary in there. Anyways, Tasmota's dead. Wow, Doc just confirmed Tasmota's dead. Now, Ian, I wouldn't say Tasmota's dead. Tasmota is good. Tasmota has a lot of good uses, but ESP Home, especially for Home Assistant users, specifically for Home Assistant users, it's fantastic. That native API thing, you don't have to have MQTT, put your automations right on there. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So, all right, guys, are we ready? Thanks for sticking with me through this one. This it was a good stream. I was glad to have BK on there. We talked about a lot of good stuff. I'm guessing that the viewer count's not really accurate anymore, but messy. How do I feel about Brilliant Wall Switch? What's the Brilliant Wall Switch? I don't know, Christian. I don't know. Which board do you set for Sonoff 4-channel in ESP Home? Good question. That is one of the things that that still needs to happen with ESP Home, is to integrate all those boards. Here's a Sonar 4 channel. It says right here. Yeah, you'd have to read through this and it would tell you what to do, but there's a page full of it. Trying to get audio on ESP Home right now. Control from Home Assistant through MPD. Awesome. I was looking at Mopidi. Doc needs a break today. He does. Oh, but before we do this, last thing I want to tell you is tomorrow we're going to do a daytime stream. I'll be home. I have to work the night shift tomorrow night. So tomorrow in the daytime, so somewhere probably around 10:30 my time. So a little bit earlier than when this stream started, we're going to have Whiskers come on and we're going to just do the Proxmox install from scratch so that we can, because there's people that have been asking for that. So we're going to do that with Whiskers, tomorrow. And then if I can, I'd like to get Dynotech on this week in the daytime. That'd be awesome. Too expensive, not so brilliant. All right, stickers. Here we go. 80 people in the stickers. You guys ready? Roll it. I need a drum roll button, don't I? Oh, yes, Mark. Yeah, we got to work on that too. Not a big deal. I don't restart it that often. Okay, here we go. Rolling. Josh Sinikin, you are winner number 1. Hit me up in Discord. Give me your address, and I will send you some stickers. Send some stickers. Oh, I forgot to tell BK and Kai. Kai, you still around? We'll send you some. I don't know if he saw you, Frank. I know you offered some stickers to BK, some Home Assistant community add-on stickers. And I don't know if he saw that or not. I meant to mention it. And then, of course, I got past me. All right, let's do another one. Ready? Second winner. Josh is the first winner. Congratulaciones. And then here we go. Paul. Yes. Congratulations, Paul. You the winner. Good job. Paul won the giveaway. Fantastic. Somebody at Rigged. Somebody always says rigged. Somebody asked about batteries for the bug. My 2 cents on the batteries for the bug. I think I'm going to use lithium iron phosphate batteries. We can talk about that why another time, but that's what I'm going to do so they don't explode on me. Okay. You want to tell the kids it's ready? It's time? You're too lazy? Computer? Tell everyone it's time for sign off.
Announcing.
It's time for sign off. How to enter stickers? All you gotta do, Simeon. If you typed in the chat, you were entered. So, you should. Let's see if you were on here or not. That's quite literally the only thing you've ever won, huh? Yeah, you were on. Simeon, you were there. So, alrighty. Paul, yeah, make sure you send me your address, Paul, because I'm not sure if I have it. I probably do. I should have had it from stuff you sent me and all, but
Ow.
Poor Holly's sick again. Okay.
She threw up gymnastics.
Oh, that's so sad. All right, guys, that was a good time. Thanks for being here. Sorry for being out of it tonight or today, more than usual, which is pretty scary, right? Let's do one more thing. Why don't you want to hit that right there? Okay. And then I got to get Creative's little dancing guy up for the end of the stream. I didn't fix that yet, but I'll do it with some music. All right, guys, you ready? Here we go. As always,
thanks for watching.
Until next time, adios.
Alright, let's go do that.
Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Hope you did make it.
See you, C-Ray. That's awesome. See you, everybody. Thanks a lot.